Okay, so once we've gotten this motion down and we've got what we're calling a horizontal bow stroke, even though you might start doing it vertically in the air, it's like a collé motion. Then we're going to take this into the frog area where we often get some crunchy stuff. We're going to do a takeoff, but we're going to make this a little bit more of an advanced takeoff. So the takeoff itself is really helpful for training up the pinky to have the strength to hold the bow once it's at the frog and it's making that frog bow change. And also some of those situations where we might be lifting the bow, we might be like doing a retake or something. And we feel like as soon as we go from vertical to even just a little bit off center there, and certainly if we were like on the G string, we feel the pinky holding up the bow, and it's a lot of work for that little joint and finger. So we want to keep the pinky curled, make sure it's curled here and never, completely locked out. But let's start with a takeoff, and we're going to start on the A string. The higher strings are best just so that you're not having to work too hard, but eventually you do want to take it to the lower strings. And if this is too much, you could also just take your hand up the stick a little bit to the balance point or the winding area, and you'll find, whoa, the bow is way lighter. So if you find this exercise really challenging and the pinky's locking out a lot, I would do that for a while and just modify it. Okay, so we're going to do a takeoff. So we're going to do an up bow, and my fingers are kind of long right now. And then as I do the up bow, I'm going to get to the frog and I'm going to leave the string, and this is where I'm going to do that little curling motion, the little horizontal curling motion. So I'm closing up that gap in the thumb web. My pinky's really curved. My other fingers are curling a little bit as well. And then when I go back on, I'm going to straighten out to build up some momentum so I can get out of that frog region a little bit smoother. So I curl in the air and I go on the string and I straighten. Curl in the air, on the string and straighten. Curl in the air, on the string and straighten. And then once that's feeling okay, you could start to do this and not go in the air for quite as long. You still want to go through your little range of motion with the curl and the straighten, and the curl and the straighten, and then eventually we're on the string, but we still see that motion in the fingers when we hear this nice powerful sound without the crunches. How cool is that? So that little range of curling and straightening, you're going to see that all throughout the bow length actually. So if you're in the middle of the bow and you're doing some little bow strokes here, you want to see those fingers. Now these are more passive fingers, so as soon as we get them a little bit stronger so that they can curl and they're not going to just slip off or lock out or whatever, then we want to start to get, in most situations, just like normal bow strokes, détaché bow strokes, we want to get to the point where we just feel like the fingers are along for the ride. And just to feel that for a second, let's just put the violin and bow down, and let's feel a little bit of like a tone through the forearm, wrist, and up to the knuckles. So we're just going to keep that not like locked out, but pretty strong feeling. And then let's just kind of curl up the fingers just to start here. And we're in towards our body a little bit. The back of the hand is towards me. And I'm just going to kind of push away. So I imagine maybe I'm pushing something down right here along the palm side, inside underneath the knuckles. So I'm just going to push away, and we see the fingers straighten. And then when I curl up, I'm going to lead with my knuckles here, and we see the fingers curl up. So I'm going to push away and curl up, push away, curl up. So lengthen and curl, straighten out, curl up. And if I did that faster, we'd see that. If I did it slower, we just see it takes more time to go through that range, but I'm still going through that range. And so that's what's happening with the bow when I'm doing strokes anywhere. So certainly at that frog area, what I was just showing you, and then anywhere else. If I did the tip, if I did some longer strokes, then we see there's just a little bit more time between the ultimate curl, which is at the end of the up bow. Ultimate curl, that's what my bow hold looks like there. And then ultimate straight, and that's at the end of the down bow. So yeah, what does a bow hold look like? Depends on where you are in the bow. Could look like that, could look like that, could look like something in between. But wherever I am, all of that's still happening. And if I'm lower, or if I'm doing some smaller strokes, then I might be powering that motion lower in the arm, and if I'm doing some bigger strokes, I'm powering that motion up the arm, but still the fingers are doing the same thing. But now it's just passive. But we have to start off active again, just so that we can get them strong enough so that they feel like they can be flexible and they can move without losing the bow, dropping the bow. We don't want that to happen.